Okay, so I am here with Cindy Christensen from Utah, USA, and she's kindly agreed to jump on a call with me just to have a chat about the DTA and what she's doing, where she's been, where she's come from. Just share her experience, basically, for those of you who are kind of wondering, is it for me? What can I do? Cindy, always fun to chat to you. Thanks for jumping on the call.
You too, Dan. It's so good to see you. It's been a while.
So I'm not going to say much. Over to you. Tell us about yourself, your journey. Tell us your backstory. Your backstory, as in before you joined the DTA. Where were you? What were you doing? And what were your emotions around kind of, I don't know, training dogs? Had you trained dogs before? That sort of thing.
Okay. No, I haven't trained dogs before. My backstory is, well, I'm 62 and a half years old. So this journey with Dan started about 5 years ago. So I worked for the government. I did Child Protective Services investigator. So needless to say, I didn't see very many happy things. I got really tired of the grind. I got really tired of the politics. I got really tired of judges throwing my cases out of court that I worked so hard on. And it just got to where I felt like I was in this never-ending mesh of politics, and I hated it. And at the time, I happened to have a Cocker Spaniel from hell. And I was looking online for some answers to some problems that I was having. And I came across the online dog trainer. And I immediately subscribed to it. And I was a member for about a little over a year, I guess. And I was so taken with what you were doing there. And the thing, I mean, I watched every single video, every one on the thing. I was just, and at that time you had just gotten Moses, and we're doing the puppy thing. So it was kind of fun to watch, you know, every month I would look forward to seeing the next month's puppy thing. So I was an avid follower for a little over a year. And then I kind of, you know, I solved my problem with my dog. So see, there you have it right there. So Dan solved the problem. So it was a big success. And I'd had a few things come and go in my life, and I was kind of at this funky place. And one day I logged on the internet. I have no idea. It was the universe, because there's just no way else would have happened. And there was a video of Dan standing there saying that he was going to start the academy. And I can still remember it like it was yesterday. He's standing by a tree. There's a tree behind him, and it was really green. I remember how green it was. And I remember, and I'm going to cry. Bear with me a minute, I'm going to cry. But I said, I remember him looking, and he said he was going to start this academy. And I just jumped. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is a dream come true. And I remember you saying in that video, you said, if you'll just trust me and you'll do what I tell you to do, I promise you that I'll help you. I'll help you every step of the way, and you can be a success. And that there for me was the game changer, is when you made a promise that you would do everything you could to, if I just would do what you told me to do, and if I would promise to just try to follow the plan, that I could make it work. And so I signed up that day, and it was like at the last day, if I remember right, we were in the first academy. And I got in like the last day. It was a miracle. And when I got on, I was a sponge. And I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't take shortcuts. And I have to give you a little bit about my personality, and Dan will laugh at this, but I'm a little high strung, and I have to constantly work on keeping myself grounded, because I can operate off the ground quite a ways if allowed. And I'll take shortcuts. Like I get bored, you know, like I'll be taking a class or something. It's like, oh, geez, I get bored. So like I'll skip to the end of the chapter or I'll whatever. But I made a promise to myself that I would not skip a chapter, that I would go step by step by step. And that's probably the best thing I did. I think it took me 9 months or something to do. Now, I went and did my first consult at about 4 months into it. And I quit my job. I can't even believe I quit my job. Talk about scared, because I mean, I've always worked. Since I was 14, I've always worked. I quit my job at 6 months into it. And I just crossed into our 5th year, because I did the academy in 2017. So what's it been, Dan? It's been 5 years now.
Yeah.
Holy cow. And I remember calling Dan, and it was cool because in this video, one of the things that wasn't, he's like this celebrity to me, right? And so I'm like going, oh man, I was like so nervous. And there was a thing in there that you got your 30-minute call with Dan, and I'm like, what am I going to say that's like intelligent? I got to say something intelligent, because by this time I had signed on to it, and I was like halfway through the program, and all of my friends in the program had all called and had this talk with him. And so I got on the phone with him and I said, I'm going to come to New Zealand someday when I'm a success, and I'm going to meet you face to face and shake your hand. And I could tell, I'm sure he thought just, oh geez, what an idiot, what a weirdo. And I said, I'm going to take your wife and your kids and you to dinner. We're going to come out there. And it's my goal. And matter of fact, it's happening sooner than I think it will. So it's coming along. So that's my DTA story. And then I was doing it full time, right? From the 6-month mark on, I was doing it full time. And I'm into my 5th year, and I make 10 times what I made working for the government.
Go on, so, tell us what you make. What do you make?
So we're all friends here, right? I mean, I don't want to brag because it makes me sound like I'm like some weird lady or something, but you guys, you gotta look at this gray hair, okay? I'm 62 years old, and I've always worked for somebody. And if somebody would have said to me, you can go be a dog trainer, you can just quit your job today and don't worry about your house payment. Don't worry about the car payment, all the responsibilities you have. Just quit your job today and you can go train dogs and make money at it. I'm like, yeah, right. And I did it and it worked. And so last year we made just shy of 250,000. Can you believe that? Isn't that exciting? So, and this year I'm on target to make more than that. So yeah, I've made a lot of money doing it, and it's fun. I mean, you work for yourself. I think that's the part to me that is the whole kicker. There is you can go to work in your jeans. I don't have to wear a bra if I don't want. I can. I mean, I'm here at my house. I can just do what I want. I can sleep in for a little while if I want. But I think the reason that I really wanted to do this chat with Dan today is I want you all to know out there that there is nothing special about me. I am just an average person from Pukeville. I'm from Idaho, for heaven's sakes. And I moved to Utah, and I'm in the suburbs of Salt Lake. There's nothing remarkable about me. I mean, I got my college degree when I was 46 years old. I mean, nothing. There's nothing about me that's remarkable. And I just decided I wanted to do this, and I hated my job so bad that I was willing to do anything. And I think that was a big kicker for me. So if you're sitting there thinking that you're in this place in your life where you're miserable, and this COVID and it's taken over the world and everything is miserable and you're unhappy and you're trapped and you feel like you can't get out, this is probably the best time. COVID has been the greatest thing for my business than anything else. All the dog shelters are empty in any city. I mean, I've watched things on TV about it because everybody was home from work and they all went and got dogs. And now their dogs are out of control and the people are going back to work and they have dogs that they can't control. So now's a really good time to train dogs. I don't think there's a bad time, but now's a really good time to get into it. So if you're thinking about making this change in your life, holy cow. I mean, look at me. If I can do this, anybody can do this.
And Cindy, I know you pretty well. I know whilst the money is good, that's not why you decided to become a dog trainer. I know it was far more than the money. It was, your job before that, your work before that was helping children, and that's where your heart is. So can you tell us a little bit about the passion and the love for the animals that you have and the joy you get from it?
And it's cool because, and I've developed friendships. I mean, the dogs are the dogs. I mean, if you're watching this right now, you're a dog lover. So that just speaks volumes. I mean, you can't really express that. We love dogs. That's why we're all sitting here right now. But what it has brought me that has been the biggest surprise, as it's brought me into the lives of people. I've made more friends in 5 years than I've made in the previous 55 years of my whole life, because they're dog people and they're just like me. I mean, I laugh, I giggle. I just got back. Okay, I'm going to say this because I'm going to really show I'm bragging. Okay, I had this client and he had a sheepadoodle and his name was Willie. And I loved Willie. He was this big doof. If you know sheepadoodles, they're doofs. I have one. My Remus is a doof. And he just called me up one day and he said, I have a beach house on Cannon Beach. on the Oregon coast. Would you like to go use it for a week? And he'd go, yeah, right. Sure. Sign me up. Yeah. Because he can't mean it. There's no way he's serious. And he goes, no, really, would you like to use it? And I go, oh yeah, sure. That'd be great. Yeah. Like I get these calls every day. And then he goes, those are like when? He's like truly asking me. And I go, oh, I don't know. Well, how about August? And he goes, okay, I've got the 1st to the 9th up there available. Would you like to take it then? Then I realized he was dead serious. And I go, are you serious? And he says, yeah. And I said, you don't just offer your beach house. And he said, why not? You did a great job with my dog. This is my way of thanking you. And we just got back last week from 9 days on Cannon Beach, paid for by this client. So see, there you have it. So I've made friends that I never dreamed that I would make. And that to me has been the biggest plus. The second biggest plus has been, and Dan, you've the one that helped me with this more than anything, is trying to get my energy lower, because as I mentioned earlier, I operate up here and dogs sense that. And I was struggling there for a while because I couldn't get my energy down. And he referred me to some books that he had studied, on the things that he had done and that kind of thing. And so I kind of got into some of this stuff, and I tried to learn to meditate and things that I hadn't ever done before. But I've been able to follow my gut. And there's been lots of people that I'll be talking to on the phone, and I'll just know I'm supposed to help them. And so like I'll waive my fee, or I'll cut it in half, or I'll take the dog longer, like they can only afford, X amount of time, and I'll take the dog an extra week. I do it a lot. And that has been probably one of the greatest rewards, is watching lives change. I've saved marriages. You've been shocked, the stories you hear, people are all about a dog, the dogs could tear apart the family. And I've saved dogs from being euthanized. I volunteer with a shelter, and we had a border collie here about a month ago that they were going to euthanize that very day. And I said, no, let's see if we can work with her. And 4 days later, we were able to get her adopted out. The method works so fast with her. This 5 golden rules, or the dog calming code, whatever we call it nowadays. It changed everything. And she's adopted, and she's doing just fine. So that has been a plus. Is besides the dogs, it's the people that you'll meet that are lifelong. They're lifelong relationships. It's cool.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. It's beautiful. So you mentioned what you earned roughly in a year. Are you able to break it down, how you charge or what you do? Do you go to people's houses, or do people come to you? Just so people, because a lot of people are kind of wondering, can you actually get your money back? Can you actually pay for this? And obviously that's where people are at. Can you charge more than $25 per hour or $30 an hour? And so it'd be great for people to just hear how it works, and the kind of the value that you can offer people, and how you've set it up.
And it's going to sound unbelievable to the average person listening to this. And so average person, just listen to this, average person, believe me here, because what I did was, when I first started, I went for $250 was my consultation, and I would go to their home, and it was about 2.5 hour thing that I was there. And of course, people were so bored after 2.5 hours. It's like, get out of here, lady. And I found that it got really, it was really redundant for me. I found myself saying the same thing over and over again. I thought, okay, I got to liven this up somehow. I've got to find my niche, because it wasn't working for me. So I started doing the consults, and then I did a few like group things where I would do group things and had people come. I kind of tried that, and I liked that better because there was like more mingling and that kind of thing. But then I went out on a limb, and I hired this marketer, and so I had this experience with dogs or whatever, and it was a big waste of money. So ignore this. Don't go out and hire a marketer, because it's not worth it. But anyway, I didn't at the time. I'm feeling like I'd quit my job, and I was doing consults, and I was going out. But you do 2 and 3 a day, and I'm in a huge city. It was an hour drive each way, and then I would get home in time and have to turn around and go again, and I wasn't ever home, and I felt like it was just getting to where, and I had a lot of people like flake, some people would flake on me kind of thing, and I'm thinking, oh, what's going on, so I was just kind of struggled with it. So I hired this marketer, and she said, well, you're giving yourself away. And she said, this is key here. She said, if you're the cheapest one out there, you're going to get the cheapest form of clientele. And not that there's anything wrong with people that can't afford to pay an expensive fee, but what happens is that I was always drawing in the $250 clientele. And what I mean by that is people that would say, do you take payments on $250? Can I pay you next week? Those kinds of things. And so she said, you got to step it up a little bit. And Dan and I had some conversations during this time as well. So he was a big encouragement. And I decided I wanted to try boarding the dogs because I was driving so much. I thought, what if I brought the dogs to my house and tried to do it? So I started with just one dog. And I said, well, how much can you charge? And like for a week, because I was go out to their house for 3 hours for $250. And she said, let's start at $1,575. And I'm like, I laughed out loud. I laughed right at her. And I go, there is no way anybody's going to pay me $1,575 to take their dog for a week. And she said, just do it. Just put an ad out there. So I did a Google ad and I put an ad out there and I got a call from a lady and she gave me 2 dogs. She had 2 dogs. And I remember that $3,150 check. I still was like, oh my God, you're going to be kidding me. And so I brought him into my house and I did everything that I would teach the people, explain to them when I was at their house. I actually was able to do it. Then it became fun to me because instead of just sitting there and telling them all the time, then I was able to kind of like get my hands dirty and kind of get into it like it was my own dogs. And that's when I really took off. Everybody has their own little part that they want to do, and that's fine. But you'll find, don't be afraid to try different things and you'll find the one that works for you. And for me, it was the board and train. And once I did that, I got to know people better. I got to know the dogs better. I was able to speak more of the language and figure out what was going on. And as my experience grew, I was able to get results quicker. And so I started with 1 dog and then 2 dogs. And now I usually have probably 6 dogs here a week. That's probably what I have. And I built a shop out back.
6 dogs a week. Let me just double check. So 6 dogs a week and they're paying roughly,
they're paying exactly $1,575. So
you can work it out. 9-10 grand a week, some weeks.
Yeah. Now I did a puppy package. It's been kind of cool. And I take less than that. I take $1,075 for that. I took 500 off of it. And I just invented it. And that's probably more popular than my adult dogs. And all I did is I just said, dogs got to be crate trained. You got to crate train your puppies, else they're going to be peeing all over your floor. And I can't stand that. And I was always getting calls from people. How do I get my dog to stop peeing on the floor? And I'm shocked that people don't crate their dogs. To me, that was just something I've always learned to do when I got a dog. And so I just thought everybody did it. And I'm surprised how many people don't do it. And so then I just created this package and I said, okay, you bring your dog here at 8 weeks old. And I'll get it on a crate schedule and I'll get it to sleep all night, wake up dry, and you can have it back in a week. The separation anxiety will be gone and they'll wake up dry in their crate and we'll be on a schedule. And I charge $10.75 for that. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 puppies over there right now I'm looking at that are.
So you can definitely make your money back.
Holy cow. And then, I made it back in, Dan. Yes, I made it back. And I feel kind of silly. I feel kind of silly talking about it, but not everybody's doing this for money. You're doing it because you love the dogs, but let's face it, money certainly makes it a lot nicer. I bought my husband a new truck and, and it's like, we had a really big earthquake here and I had sustained a lot of damage and I was able to pay cash for it and fix my house up. It was $75,000 to fix this house and I was able to pay for it as I went. Wow. Are you kidding me? I didn't make that kind of money. I made $35,000, $37,000 a year for the government. And I just do what I want.
Yeah.
You gotta try it. If someone like me doesn't tell someone like you out there that it's possible, you're never going to believe it because you look at someone like Dan and you go, yeah, well, look, he's really successful and he's this. But the truth of the matter is he's just an average guy who started this business to teach people because he had a love for dogs and he's shared it with the world and he's showing us that it can be done. And I'm a testament that it can be done because I didn't believe that I could do this. No way in hell that I think I'd do this. And if I did do it, I didn't think I would do what I'm doing now. I kind of felt like it would be, that I could maybe make as much as I made for the government. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to be able to just make as much as I made before because my husband then could carry the insurance and that kind of thing. And so I just want to tell you from an average person, And I'm happy, and I'll tell Dan this at the end of this, I'm happy to give out my phone number. I'm happy to give you my email. I mean, you're welcome to call and talk to me. I've talked to lots and lots of people over the years that have had, you know, additional questions that that I know are doing very well, that joined the academy, and they're off doing wonderful. They're doing great.
And just to clarify, the dogs that come to your home, you still put the online dog trainer, the dog calming code method in place. That
oh, I just 100%.
It's still that program.
Oh yeah, it's 100%. And as a matter of fact, there'll be lots of times I'll forget something and I'll go back and look at I'll log on, because we have access to the videos, you know, and so you can just go in and look at your videos, and I'll find something I forgot or that I thought too hard about. Lots of times I'll find things that I got there, but I got the long way around, and I'm thinking, okay, Cindy, just go look. And so it's been better to go watch Dan's videos, and I'll catch up on something. I'll look up under aggression, or I'll look under, you know, nervousness or that kind of stuff. And then I can usually get an answer much faster. But I 100% do 100%. I don't do any other methods whatsoever. It's all the code. Matter of fact, I'm building a building now. And one of the things that I'm doing is right in the middle of this building, I'm having a mock living room put in, because that's where people are the happiest with the dogs. It's the family, it's the house manners, you know, jumping on you when you come through the door, all the things that we teach in the 5 golden rules, all those things we're putting all that into place. And so I'm actually having a mock living room put in, so that when the clients come in and get their dogs, they can actually see it in person, rather than sending the dog back to their house and just explaining it to them, you know, that's what we've been doing. So I live by the method. I live by it.
Awesome. And what would you say was your biggest concerns before you signed up?
Oh, geez, that there's no way I could make I'd never be able to quit my job. And my husband's going, you ain't quitting your job. Are you serious? I mean, what would we do? We need your income. What would we do? We can't gamble. And it was just a fight. I mean, it turned into this fight. It was a big deal. And I was so miserable and so unhappy that it was absolutely my biggest fear was that I couldn't do it. I mean, especially at my age, you know, it's one thing if you're 30 and you got all this energy and time and I'll just say, but I mean, at my age, I was looking to retire, you know, in a few years. And I just thought there's no way someone's going to want to listen to this old lady tell them how to train a dog. But you know what? They did, and they do, and they will you as well. Because we have a guy here in the Valley that's a very popular dog trainer, and he has really questionable methods in his training, which all of them here do. I think I'm the only one that I know of that doesn't use any aggressive methods at all. I use a kind and gentle approach. That's what I use. Dan's method. And he just had a dog die of heat exhaustion. And they were able to investigate, and they'd let these dogs out in the heat and that kind of thing. I mean, so, and this guy was, you know, this big guy on the TV all the time. And you're thinking, you know, there's no way that he would make a mistake like that. So people are looking for dog trainers. I mean, they're looking for good. I get calls all the time. The reason they picked me is because I don't use those kinds of methods. And everyone uses them because they're fat. They work, but they're fat and they're fast. But you're not teaching respect, and you're not teaching the dogs. That's not this relationship that we want with our dogs. It's fear.
So would you say you're getting good results? Are you happy to share a little bit about the results you get? And you're sort of, I know you've got some reviews and people.
I do. I advertise on Google. And that's the other thing about this, guys. Your overhead is nothing. You know, you work for yourself. So like I can write off all of the leashes and all the kind of stuff that I buy. And then I do Google ads. And Dan, again, if you listen to Dan, he'll line you all in the marketing section in the program. He goes into all this about how you market it. And I followed it word to the letter. I wrote down notes as I went, and I got on the Google ads and did what he said. And that's how I do my advertising. And 100% of my business, well, now I'm getting referrals, so that's kind of cool, but probably 80% of my business I get from Google ads. And so for maybe, I used to get like 1 click a day, maybe like 1 click a day. And now I get like 70 clicks a day. And so it's costing you more, you know, I'm spending I probably spend $1,000 every couple of weeks, maybe, but that's all of my overhead. And that's all of my business comes in from Google ads. So, and it's cool because they'll just call and they already know about you. Then it takes you to my webpage, and on my webpage, my Google reviews are listed. So that'll be one of the things that you'll want to make sure that you do when you get your website up, is that you list your Google reviews, because people want to see what you do. And I've got a 5-star Google review rating. And I think I've got 143 now, 143 5-star reviews. So yeah, I'm proud of that.
Wow.
And that helps me get business. That really helps you, because the people can see that you've got, you know, I did get 1-star about 2 months ago, and the lady just ripped me up and tore me apart. And she never even spoke to me. It wasn't me she talked to. And she said that I told her that I would only do a 3-week puppy program, which I don't even offer. She said that I lost my dogs out in the parking lot. I don't have a parking lot. I have a driveway. I mean, and I'm just going, ma'am, I'm sorry, but you just didn't, it wasn't me. But she just
doesn't. You can't win them all. You can't win them all.
No. And so I just let it, so I've laughed, and I've had people call me and say, I've read that 1-star review. I bet if you know, if it's obvious that this lady was kind of whack. But your reviews really help you, because, and I encourage them, and I ask people if they do them to please enclose a picture of their dog, and they make it personal that way. And the reviews, you'll get your business just by the reviews. If you do a good job and you're willing to help people and help dogs, and you're not into it just for the money, you want to make a difference, and you want to turn a dog around, and you're willing to put the extra work into it. Sometimes it takes more work than just a week. And sometimes, you know, it costs a little bit more time, so to speak, then, but the end result is you'll have happy clients. And that's my goal, is to always have happy clients.
So what would you say to somebody who's never trained a dog before? Can they do it?
I've never trained a dog before. And I guess I would say this. I guess I would say, if you're scared to sign up for the academy, because it's a lot of money, let's say that you can't afford it, and whatever, I don't know what it costs nowadays, but whatever it is, let's say you can't afford it, you're worried about it. At the very minimum, do what I did. Get on to the online dog trainer and subscribe. Take 30 days, whatever you take, a week or two, whatever it takes, and watch some videos. Watch him do it. Watch him go into people's homes. Watch these dogs that are out of control. And he walks in, and before you know it, he's sitting there with the dog on the floor. I mean, there's countless videos. There's a million I could refer you to that and then pretty soon he walks out, and this dog is amazing. And these people are falling all over him about how awesome he is. And you watch a couple of those, and you'll go, well, I can do this. Now, what you have as a benefit is I didn't know him from Adam. And so I was thinking, well, I'd love to do it, but I don't know this guy from, you know, in New Zealand. But now he's got an academy, and he's here to help you, and he will. And you'll take his promise to heart, because he did it for me. There's nothing special about me. He did it for everybody in my academy. He was there every step. I'm going to cry. He was there every step of the way, and he's changed my life. Because if I would have stayed with the government, I probably would have retired by now, but I just am not one of those that can just sit home. I've developed a lifelong love and friendship with him that I'll be there forever. He's probably one of the greatest men I've ever met. And he's honest, and he's faithful. And if he tells you he's going to do something, he'll do it. So you have nothing to lose. I mean, if you get into it and you don't like it, I mean, then you can quit. But I've never known anyone ever to quit once they got into it, because it just takes a hold of your heart, and you can do this. And you can call me, and I will coach you through too. So between me and Dan, we'll get you on the other side, and you can do this. You can be successful. I know you can.
Oh, you got me quite emotional. But
I'm sorry, but it's the truth. You changed my life. No. And you didn't know us from Adam. And we were the very first class. And I mean, I'm not the same person that I was. My husband tells me all the time. He says, I see it on the selfish end, because I'm able to go buy the things I want. He went out and bought him a brand new lathe last week, $3,000 lathe, because he's always wanted one. And we could never afford a lathe. Are you kidding me? I didn't have $3,000 laying around. But I can do those kinds of things now for him that I couldn't do before, because I have the money now to do it. And the peace of mind, and more than the money, it's the freedom. It's not having to go into that, fight the traffic and the road rage and the politics and the backstabbing and for this little peon check that you get. And let's face it, it's never enough. Now you can work for yourself. And there are lots of dogs out there that need help. And there's lots of people. And the other thing, lastly, and then I'll shut up, is that there is a love for dogs now that didn't exist when I was a kid. When I was a kid, you opened your door and you kicked your dog outside and said, go do your business, whatever. And then the dog just came back at nighttime. You know, it's like, you didn't watch your dogs, you didn't walk him, there wasn't that love and commitment. Not that you didn't love your dogs, but it was just different than it is now. There's a article that I read that says that there's a love that people have for their dogs that has, the reason it's so big is because we're all really automated. Everything we do is just with your phone, your banking, you can buy groceries, everything you do, you can just do it with your phone, and you don't have this interaction. And I read that people are really really drawn to dogs now because it gives them that connection that they never had. And so I can tell you firsthand experience that people will spend that money that you don't think they would ever spend on a dog. They'll spend it so gladly because they love their dogs in a level that I never personally have been able to experience in my lifetime. People love their dogs and they will pay whatever it takes to get their dogs trained. They will. I mean, so now's the time I would say now's the time to do it after COVID. Now's probably the best time that I've ever seen to train dogs, because there's dogs out there. There's a lot of them.
What I've always loved about you, Cindy, is your heart is in the right place. All I mean by that is you've done it because you love the dogs, you love helping people, and that's what I've always respected, and I guess what we've always had in common. That's why we've always got on. And, so it couldn't happen to a better person. So
couldn't have done it without you.
Last words to you. What would you say? What's the final thing you'd say to somebody who's sitting on the fence, not sure?
I would say step into the abyss. Just close your eyes and trust. There are people in the academy. He has a Facebook group. All of us that have been in there and I'm not in there as much as I should anymore because I'm just too dang busy, but there's an academy, a group, and then everybody supports everybody. You can bounce your questions off of. Dan is there. I would say don't be afraid, because he's taken all of the support issues and put them in place. You're not alone. You'll never feel alone. I promise you will never feel like you're alone. You're going to be, when you're sitting there looking at your laptop, watching the videos, you're watching it in a classroom setting. So there's actually people in the classroom with you, and that's cool. So I never felt alone the whole time I did anything. Then when we graduated, there was the group of us in the forum. We could bounce questions off of each other. And then as more academies went through, there were more and more people on there. So you will always have people respond to you, answer your questions, love you, support you, build you up when things are bad, when you're down on yourself or you're having a struggle about something or life gets in the way. There are those of us that will help you. Anybody will give you an email. Anybody will give you a phone number, me included. And you're not alone. And so this is the only time you'll ever go into business for yourself that I believe that you're not alone. I mean, you've got people to hold your hand through this that have walked this path before you. So don't reinvent the wheel. Learn from those of us that have done it the first time, and then reach out to those of us, how we build our websites. There's tricks, there's things that we've all learned. I learned from Dan, you can learn from me. We'll just pass this stuff down because there's things that you can do. So don't be afraid. Just close your eyes and have a little faith in yourself, have a little faith in us on this side of the camera, have a little faith in us, because we can help you get there. You will be just as successful as I am.
Cindy, I promise this is the last question. I'm just thinking about people listening to you, thinking you spent 5 years and now you're earning what you're earning. Are you able to give us an idea of maybe you started in the first year? Have you any idea what you earned in the first year?
Oh yeah, I was over 50,000. I made enough in my first year that I was able to replace my income. And then the second year, I think I started my first board and train. I just did one board and train at a time. So I made I never did go below what I was making for the government. I never fell below, like, oh my gosh, how are we going to make a house payment? I never fell below. I always made money.
So the first year you reckon about 50,000.
Oh, I may have made less than that. I made 37 I maybe made the same amount that I made for the government that very first year, because I started in May. So from May to December, probably about that. And then I was 50,000. And then I went into board and train, and then it skyrocketed. So the last 3 years, it's been board and train. And that's all I do now is board and train.
Awesome.
So the money grows fast. It's fast. And you know what? If you don't have the facility, that's the other thing I wanted to say. You might not have the room. You might not have the desire to have dogs in your home. And that's okay. You can do other things. You can do a package. For example, you could make a package that says, Okay, like you don't, let's say your husband hates dogs, okay, and you're going to do this or something, and he doesn't want you to have dogs in the house, all right? Okay, so you can't do the board and train, or you're living in an apartment or something, and there's just no way feasible. So then just think outside the box. So you could go to someone's house, you could advertise, and you could say, you do a three visit package. You go to their home 3 times. You could charge, $1,250. All right. And you could go to their home 3 times, and you would go the first time and give them the rules. And then you go back the second time and walk through with the dogs and see what they're doing. And the third time it'd be kind of a follow-up. You could come up with so many plans that, you'd want 3 or 4 plans going at any time. You could go to people's homes and you could make just as much money. You did 2 or 3 of those in a day, and you have those booked all week long. Holy cow, you'd make a fortune. And you can design it where, if you're in a city like me, on Mondays you work the north end of the city, on Tuesdays you work the east end of the city, and you could play it because you work for yourself. You can have people come to you, you can go to them. You can make this work. It doesn't matter what your situation is. Don't let that scare you, that you live in an apartment complex so you can't make it work. That has nothing to do with it.
And you dovetailed it in with your current business. That's the other thing.
What's that?
You dovetailed the dog training in with your current business that you do, working for the government, before you fully quit.
Yeah. I would just go at nights. I would just go at nights or on Saturdays was when I always went, because people were home, and Saturdays always seemed to be the big day. So yeah, there's a sacrifice at first. You have to give up your weekends, and I gave up my weekends for a while, but it was worth it. And when I saw it starting, you start getting those $250 checks, and I would go on 3 in a day. And I'm looking at that going, that's $750 I made today. It may take a long time to make $750. And you can start that. You can be doing that in the first 4 months of the academy, because I did it at 4 months. And I went out on Saturdays and would do 3 of those. That's $750. That's kids' braces. That's saving money for a vacation. And then you do a couple of those on Sunday or whatever. So you have to work a little on the weekends. You can make as much money as you want to make. And you can do it as slow or as aggressive. Granted, I did it aggressively, but remember, I'm old as dirt, and I have to do a lot in a shorter span of time so that I can retire. I probably wouldn't go this fast if I was younger, but it's been, you can make this work around you. There's a million things you could do. You could do workshops at parks. You could lease a building for an afternoon, where you can pay $100 and you can have people come and teach class. There's all kinds of things you could do. So don't be afraid of that. The work is out there. The business is out there.
Sure is. Cindy, it's been wonderful having you here to chat and share. So I appreciate it. If anybody's wondering, what is your website? Are you happy to share your website?
It's letstrainyourdog.com. My email is on there. My cell phone number's on there. Just call and tell me that you saw me on the thing and you wanted to talk to me about it. I'm happy to take your call and answer whatever questions I can. And just, you got to trust this man right here. I trusted him as the best decision I ever made. Just trust him and he'll get you to the other side.
You're a good lady. You're a wonderful woman.
Well, thank you. I say the same. You got me where I'm at today. It's all because of you. So least I can do is pass along what you've taught me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's always fun chatting to you, and love to you, love to Utah, love to the USA, love to the dogs.
All right. And I'll be coming to New Zealand soon. You'll be seeing me soon.
Sounds good. You're going to buy me dinner.
That's right. Exactly. Okay.
All right. Hey, thanks.
All righty.
Take care. Cheers, Cindy. Bye-bye.